Okay, we're on LetsDefend, working through some of the alerts in the main channel. There's this critical SharePoint alert, so I think we should take ownership of that one. Go to our investigation channel, and let's jump in and see what we can find. Okay, so it's given us a note that a critical 0-day vulnerability named ToolShell has been discovered in on-premises SharePoint server deployments. So it's SOC342, SharePoint ToolShell auth bypass, and RCE. So before we jump into the actual ticket, we should try and figure out what that CVE is about. So I did a Google search for the CVE and POC for proof of concept to try and get an understanding of how their attack works. But this seemed to sum it up quite well. So you send us crafted post requests to the endpoint, and the endpoint address is _layout/15/toolpane.aspx display mode equals edit toolpane.aspx. So in our logs, we're going to be looking to see if that was the endpoint that was hit, and then with a crafted payload, it allows you to then execute PowerShell code, and this is an example of a PowerShell script that you could run through it. So they're the sort of things we need to look for in the logs to confirm that the CVE has been successful. So if we jump back to our ticket, we do see that the alert is already set up, that if anyone hits that endpoint, that's what spawns the alert. So let's check the logs. We're coming from an external IP. So let's have a look in the logs. And source. And we can see a hit to that toolpane endpoint on July 22nd at 1 o'clock. So if we also look up the IP in VirusTotal, we get it flagged as a malicious IP. So that could give us more proof that it's most likely a malicious activity. So now if we go to the endpoint, which we've got SharePoint 01, this is the .172 IP. Sorry, endpoint is over here. We want to see, like we saw in the CVE, that when they submit a crafted packet to that endpoint, they can spawn PowerShell commands. So we want to see if there's any PowerShell activity. So if we look in the terminal history, we are seeing an obfuscated PowerShell command being run at 1:07, which is the time that endpoint was hit. So if we grab that blob, and with the equals on the end, it does look like it's going to be base 64. Always have Power CyberChef ready. And so looking at the script, it does look like it's trying to get the machine key. And the fact that we're seeing encrypted or obfuscated, I don't know why I struggle with that word so badly, PowerShell command ran, we do know it is going to be malicious, so we definitely need to escalate this. So I think we have all the confirmation. We have a malicious IP hitting a known CVE endpoint, and then we have on the endpoint encrypted PowerShell commands, and when we decode them, they're looking suspicious, like a remote shell. So just having a look at the other ones, but no, I mean, this is obviously the main issue, this one. Okay, so just pull across my notepad, a bit easier to read. So I've wrote some notes for this one. I've tracked it to MITRE attack techniques. We've chosen T1190 for exploit public facing application, and where is it? There we go. So adversaries may attempt to exploit a weakness in an internet-facing host or system to initially access a network. The weakness in the system can be a software bug, a temporary glitch, or a misconfiguration. So I think that fits with what they've exploited. I've also tagged it as command and scripting interpreter and web shell. So I've been working through TryHackMe's SOC analyst pathway, and they seem to really push the 5 Ws. Sound like a broken record, but I am trying to change the way that I log. So they do focus on doing who, what, when, where, why. So I've tried to implement that with my logs on LetsDefend. So who, external attacker from IP, targeting SharePoint, the IP, source IP flagged as malicious on VirusTotal. What, unauthenticated post requests exploiting CVE-2025-53770 SharePoint ToolShell vulnerability, obfuscated PowerShell executed at same time as exploit attempt, decoded base 64 payload, confirmed malicious activity. I've got the timestamp, where SharePoint 01 server via post request to, and then that endpoint. Why, attacker attempted authentication bypass and remote code execution against vulnerable SharePoint instance. How, exploit delivered via crafted post request with large payload size. EDR logs show obfuscated PowerShell executed during same time frame. Decoded blob confirms malicious payload execution. Impact, confirmed exploitation attempt with evidence of code execution, like high likelihood of compromise. Action taken, escalated as confirmed compromise. Recommend immediate containment of SharePoint 01, block source IP, review for web shell artifacts and persistence, conduct full forensic investigation. So I think that covers the ticket quite well. So if we go back to monitoring, and create our case. One of the things that we did mention is that we're going to contain the machine. So we may as well do that before we go through the playbook. So classed as contained. Go back to our playbook. Understand why the alert was triggered. So examine the rule. So basically we googled what the CVE was, so we had an understanding of what it is. Collect the data, so we got the IP, we checked it on VirusTotal, and we checked that it was, or we found that it was malicious. Examine the HTTP traffic. So in the logs we did confirm that they hit that vulnerable endpoint. Is it malicious? Yes, it is. What type of attack? I wonder if we're going to say it's more command injection. Not planned. External to internal. Check whether the attack was successful, which we did by checking the EDR, and on the endpoint there was those obfuscated PowerShell commands. Was their attack successful? Yes. Containment, we've contained the machine already. Artifacts, we had the external IP. And although they've already created a ticket, sorry, not a ticket, an alert based on anyone accessing this URL, I feel like we should still add that as well. And we'll just tag it with the CVE-53770. What was it called? ToolShell. Okay. We need to escalate it, yes. And our notes. So, like I said, I've been trying to log in the 5W method. I've been having this issue with LetsDefend. I don't want to harp on about it. It's so annoying. Something in the formatting of my logs that LetsDefend just does not like, and I think it is the underscore. So I'm just going to quickly edit that out. Is there any other ones? Still got some dashes. Mainly that seems to be the underscore that it seems to not like. Let's see if it goes through this time. Oh, rage inducing. Ever since I've been trying to put notes into Obsidian, I've been having issues with the form on LetsDefend accepting the notes. It just, that confirm box will just never go through. It doesn't tell you what the complaint is. Yeah, it's very annoying. I'm trying to get rid of there's no formatting, it's just a character it's going to be complaining about. I mean, surely it can't be complaining about dashes. Oh man. Alright, I'm not sure where I'm going to have cut this from, but I've been having issues with the notes not accepting my formatting when I write my notes in Obsidian or even in Kate, which is like Notepad. So I've tried to get rid of everything, no dashes, no dots, just really simple notes, and see if it goes through now. So it did. So I don't know, it must be the dashes it's complaining about. Let's continue on anyway. So we've completed the playbook, and let's have a look how the ticket went. So we'll close the alert, paste in the notes again here, say it was a true positive, and let's see the outcome. Okay, so I tagged, it looks like I tagged the attack type wrong. I guess it was other instead of command injection. So possibly when you choose other, you get to type in the exploit type. But alright, that's fine. Did pretty well, apart from just mislabeling it. We got everything else correct, and we've logged our reasoning. So on to the next one.